Hello, I'm your ex-Toycat, and today I wanted to talk about and share with you all the new Minecraft 1.18 leak that confirms some new blocks that we had previously not known too much about coming in the Deep Dark for 1.18. That's right, there was a leak for the Caves and Cliffs beta that just came out last week for Minecraft Bedrock, and it's really interesting because it includes a lot of things that were previously, unseen as of even a year ago, and some things even beyond that, because it's not just the Skulk Catalyst, the Skulk Shrieker, and the Skulk Vein being seen for the first time. It's also the brand new Shriek particle, and most interestingly to me, the brand new darkness effect that does exist inside the Minecraft Bedrock game files. There's a lot that I think needs to be said about all of this, but there's also the developer response to these leaks that I wanted to dive into with today's video, so make sure you like it if you like it, and subscribe if you want to make a British man on the internet very slightly happier than he was before. But with that said, I think my first question about this was, why is there a leak now? I mean, of all the times we've had betas and snapshots and whatnot, why are there so few leaks? And the simple answer is that we see all of the things that are being developed as they're actually being ready to put into the game, because that's what snapshots and betas are. Minecraft is an especially open game with what they're working on behind the scenes, and so that's why we see so many features even while they're in their infancy, and that's why certain features get cut and so on and so forth, because the Minecraft development process is one of the most open out there in terms of letting end users play it via snapshots and betas. So how can we confirm this is a real leak? Because if it's in the game files, it should be ready to use. When I first heard about this, I was so sure it was fake. I go into most leaks, air quotes, with like this belief that it's going to be someone making something up because they just have an enjoyment from doing that. However, I can confirm, having gone into the experimental Caves and Cliffs internal resource pack, that there is in fact a textures folder, and inside that textures folder, there are 3 separate folders, plus flipbook textures, terrain textures, and textures list.json, and if you dive into that, you can find that there is a ton of new textures sitting in the game files, but entirely unused in the beta. In fact, we haven't heard much about any of these things in a very long time, but before we talk about all of those textures, you know, the ones you just saw on screen and all look kind of messy because they're all very dark, I wanted to talk about the interesting thing here, which is that just because these are in the game files, it does not mean they are confirmed 100%. Again, this is the kind of leak culture thing of like, it's not officially ready for people to play around with, which means it's even more experimental than the betas and snapshots are in the first place. In fact, these files aren't even confirmed to be directly new. It could have just been a mistake, someone putting it in there. This is something, the nuance that a lot of people seem to miss. Do not talk to developers like these things are 100% confirmed. A lot of people do this harassment route where they're like, why haven't you added the thing that was in the game files? Because again, this is just files right now. This is nothing more. And in fact, the last time we had a Minecraft Bedrock big leak, you might recall, was around the textures found in the Village and Pillage update. So I'll share the 2 ones of those that stick out to me right now. There is the cauldron filled with lava, because there was this texture of a cauldron being filled with lava. It seemed like a ludicrous oversight, but then eventually you could fill a cauldron with lava in Bedrock, and then it got a real use later, and then it became a feature in Minecraft Java in 1.17. But then also we had the barrel, which during early development for Minecraft Bedrock, of course, there was the leaked open texture and the leaked fish texture. The leaked open texture was just what happens when you open a barrel, because it's basically a chest that doesn't open. However, the fish barrel is still not in use to this day. I mean, I don't know what you would use it for entirely, like if you filled it with fish, why would it do that? It's a very strange thing, and I'm assuming because barrels spawn near the fishing huts, that at one point the villagers were just going to fill it with fish for some reason. It's a very weird concept, right? But it was one of those things that leaked, but then never became real, compared to the open barrel, which did become real, compared to the lava cauldron, which did. And it's an important reminder before we go any further that of course these things are more likely than not to come true, but it's not a guarantee. And again, never harass anyone like it is a guarantee. I know it's not people in my community doing this. This is like, 10-year-olds watching a video and being like, you know what, the developer owes me everything in life. I can't believe these lazy people are getting paid $70,000 a year and they're not even using that money to make the Grimstone named back to Deep Slate again, or whichever way around it was. You get the point. Like, there's a lot of angry people who insist that their opinion be respected as the only true opinion. But the truth is, like with anything else, I mean, developers sharing exactly what they're working on is something they'll only do if they get positive, reactions. And if you break your toy, then you just won't get to hear about it, and that will be their reaction. I mean, it's basic logic to anything. If you're really mean to anyone in life, that person won't want to be around you anymore. And now you finally understand why your ex-girlfriend broke up with you, huh? Anyway, so with that said, I hear there are some new textures we should talk about. So this is the Skulk texture. As you can see, this is going to be a brand new block. There might be some redstone connectivity that comes with it. However, it is most likely this is just going to be a block that is found in the deep dark. It's colorful, it's pretty, it's interesting. Why is the texture so long to being so like this? Well, apparently it's because it shows all the different sides of the block, and as you can see, all of the sides look basically the same. We actually saw this at Minecon Live last year. As you can see in this picture, it's a block that exists in the world and that presumably does nothing. We don't know for sure, but we don't know anything for sure, except that there is going to be something called the Skulk Catalyst. So the Skulk Catalyst has 4 textures: the Skulk Catalyst bottom, the Skulk Catalyst side, and the Skulk Catalyst top. And then there's this additional set of textures for the Skulk Catalyst when it's blooming. Here's the side, here's the top. Basically, there is going to be a brand new block that reminds me a lot of an end portal frame. Maybe I'm crazy. It looks like this if you render it out into a thing, so I think it's much easier to understand what the block is when you see it like this. And so yeah, this is going to be not the Skulk sensor, but something that likely does something around it. I mean, it's called the Catalyst, so it's likely going to feed into the Skulk sensor, or it's going to be some way for the Warden to do something spooky with you. Who knows for sure what that something spooky is? What we do know though is the Skulk Shrieker has a texture as well. This is the Skulk Shrieker bottom, this is the Skulk Shrieker side, this is the Skulk Shrieker top, and as you can see, this is a block that also, again, looks a lot like the Skulk sensor in my opinion, in that it reacts to the world around it. To me though, I think this is going to be something redstone related, in the world of redstone I should say, because not only is this giving us natural redstone vibes, but if you go back to a video from November of last year, as you can see, this is how we make Minecraft, whatever, they're talking about the Skulk sensor itself, the feature we know the most about. However, you can see in this screenshot that they actually have all of the other Skulk blocks, including the Skulk thing itself, as well as the glow Skulk, the Skulk vein. Those are in the redstone system, which is very weird if they weren't redstone related in some way. Again, every other feature in that category either interacts with redstone, like it makes redstone, or it can react to redstone. And so, yeah, we're going to be seeing what all of these different features have to do with that redstone pulsing. I'm guessing the Skulk vein is going to be maybe something that lights up to make the biome kind of react to the sounds that you're making. I think that'd be a cool idea, because if there's Skulk sensors in there, it'll do some interesting things. But also, if you look at this inventory section from that video from November of last year, you'll see this block that we don't recognize alongside the Skulk block. We'll come back to that in a second, just after we say that, yeah, these are the leaked 4 blocks that exist for now. But then before we can talk about the new effect, we should also talk about that block, because actually in response directly to these leaks, someone said recently people have been able to find some Skulk textures in the latest Minecraft beta. One of these is called the Skulk Shrieker. Will this block replace the Skulk Trap, as it was no mentioned? And they tweet that at KingBDogs, the main developer behind the Deep Dark right now, and he responds saying Skulk Trap, which was actually called Skulk Jaw, is unlikely to make it into the game, wasn't very happy with its design. Skulk Shrieker is a completely different block. So, yeah, if you then look at the Skulk Jaw texture that we saw from all that time ago, it's likely that this block from November of last year didn't make it, but the Skulk Shrieker, and therefore by association the Skulk Catalyst, are more likely to be real. We kind of had it like semi-confirmed right there. But then there's this other response I wanted to go through, because The Witch's Warren is like, people are always sensitive about what's shown in Minecon and doesn't actually show up. That's a given that will never stop, and I don't think it's necessarily even a bad thing. And in response, KingBDogs says, I mean, in this case, it was just a texture on the floor with no description of what it actually was. But if it was out of touch, that's fair. I'm just shocked when people get so attached to the concept of something when it isn't announced or described. It's not like it was an announced feature with titles, descriptions, and an idea of what it does. It was just a texture that wasn't talked about quite on purpose. And again, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that people will complain to developers about things that we've tangentially seen, and then it makes it harder for them to like show off features that they're not sure about, because then someone gets mad and they say that they're out of touch for daring to remove features that should have been there in the first place. And I think personally that is a bit of a ridiculous stance. I think that obviously we need to know that for a Minecraft update to be the best, sometimes some features have to be cut, and sometimes those features will be our favorite features. I'm sure at some point there was a new ore in this update that they just couldn't make work. I'm sure that copper had more uses and they decided to remove some of those. And of course, to me, that's upsetting. But again, I feel like part of a game design is that, part of making anything, honestly, is knowing what to cut. This video is way longer than it needs to be just to talk about leaks because I'm doing it so off the cuff. This is a terrible video because I'm not removing things, and you should be ashamed of me. But what you shouldn't be ashamed of, before, by the way, I pulled up these images because I wanted to share them with you. This is from Minecon last year. This is the Skulk Catalyst existing there too. The fact that that is also here inside the beta, but also being shown at Minecon Live last year, shows that it's probably somewhere healthier along in the development cycle. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe we don't understand anything, really. But the one thing we should understand is that there is a brand new, you heard me correct, particle effect. Yeah, you see this shriek, it's a blue circle, and that is all we've got there. But the much more interesting thing, if you go into the UI, is this texture called darkness effect. And so this is obviously a brand new, I'm assuming status effect, but at the bare minimum it's on the UI, which means that it would be, you know, where your hunger and where your hearts are, if it's not going to be a status effect. So it's either a status effect or it's something like the withering effect. Either way, it sounds crazy to me. There is going to be a new effect that hits you while you're in the deep dark biome. Maybe it's the Skulk Catalyst that does it to you, who knows for sure, but there is going to be a way to effectively induce darkness, and this is going to be very different to blindness, because again, it's not got the same effect. I'm assuming that if we watch that Minecon Live trailer from last year for the 15,000th time, sorry about this, I know you've seen it too many times on this channel by this point, but if we look back at that trailer, you'll see that the lights flicker in and out. That is probably something to do with the darkness effect. The Warden can likely, maybe when he's moving, maybe when he's suspecting of something, do this AoE effect that gives you darkness. And again, maybe it's something to do with these catalysts or these sensors. We don't know for sure. All we have is speculation, but there is going to be a brand new effect, and I think the icon looks cool, and I think the idea is such a fun one. What if there was a way to mess with your visibility? What if that is the thing that the Warden needs to be this truly unbeatable monster? And so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this darkness effect means, but we can't see what it means in the current Minecraft Bedrock beta. We have to wait until an official snapshot or an official beta does come out. If you don't know, Wednesday is snapshot day, my dudes, and Thursday is usually the date Minecraft Bedrock betas come out. So every Wednesday and Thursday from here until the end of September, October, we're gonna be waiting and we're gonna be seeing if they add in the Warden, the darkness effect, and all of these other things, and I'm excited. I don't know if you are though. If you are, make sure to like that video. You know, I feel like that's, you know when people say stuff like that, like, oh yeah, if you really like, you know, butts, like this video, and it's like, actually, that doesn't show you like butts. That just shows that you're giving me a little thumbs up on the channel to boost my ego. But thank you if you do choose to do so. Like this video if you like butts, because we will use that like counter as a direct measure of whether you like butts or not. And you know what? I think that's a good idea, but...